Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
Fouled out, had 6, and it was the ticky-tack fouls. And again, Caitlin Clark doing a little bit of an acting job. Not sure if that was actually a foul, but again, that's for the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier.
Picture it. Fourth quarter crunch time in Atlanta. The arena is wildin. Caitlin Clark's Fever up 5, and Brittney Griner, one of the tallest, loudest, and most scrutinized hoopers on earth, has just fouled out. As she takes the long walk to the bench, cameras zoom in, audio mics pick up only crowd roar, and her lips appear to form 2 explosive phrases. First, the word trash, then what a legion of social media gumshoes swear is white girl. Within minutes, the clip ricochets across X like a pinball, spawning slow-mo breakdowns, blow-ups, and hot takes from every corner of sports internet. ESPN vet Jemele Hill swears Griner actually grumbled whack call. Conservative pundits hear something far nastier, and former NCAA swimming star Riley Gaines, already famous for torching perceived unfairness in women's sports, decides to jump in swinging. Strap in, it's gonna get wild.
I've never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. A few weeks ago, I made this video highlighting how it appears Brittney Griner said bleep white girl after fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Some people like Jemele Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call, to which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point.
Let's rewind that grainy courtside footage, the way hoop nerds dissect the last second inbound. The scene is State Farm Arena, May 22, 2025. With the Dream hosting Clark's Fever in what has quietly become the WNBA's must-see traveling circus. Griner, now an Atlanta centerpiece after her Phoenix tenure and her world-famous ordeal in Russia, battles all night against a rookie to second-year phenom who basically prints ratings on demand. At 2:07 in the fourth, Griner picks up foul number 6 while contesting Clark on a drive, mouths something as she whirls toward the scorer's table, and the Jumbotron operator helpfully cuts to an extreme close-up that later becomes Exhibit A in a culture war firestorm. Internet sleuth clip, crop, meme, and magnify. Lip-reading hobbyists post side-by-side syllable charts. The phrase, "did she say it?" trends higher than the actual box score. Jemele Hill, a longtime defender of players' intent, jumps in to insist Griner said bleep whack call, not bleep white girl, but her certainty only pours gas on the Twitter bonfire. Gaines, galvanized by what she views as mainstream media spin, stitches the clip with her own commentary on X, asking, if the roles were reversed, would we still be debating? Her post does numbers that would make even Clark's social team jealous. The league, radio silent. Team PR, no comment. And so the vacuum fills with speculation, slow motion Zapruder-style replays, and talk radio outrage. What began as a 1.5-second lip flap has now exploded into questions of race, respect, and the future of a league suddenly enjoying a bigger spotlight and harsher glare than ever before.
Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Well, that pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittney Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there.
Enter the world of WNBA investigations, where speed apparently depends on who's on trial. When Chicago rookie Angel Reese claimed Fever fans hurled racist taunts, the league needed just 72 hours to announce a formal probe. When that probe turned up zilch, execs still issued a multi-page statement affirming their commitment to inclusion and safety. Now contrast that efficiency with total inertia on the Griner video. 2 weeks zip by, no disciplinary review, no public comment, not even a "we're looking into it." Meanwhile, Outkick, a right-leaning sports site that lives for exposing double standards, applies for media credentials to ask Griner directly. Denied in LA on May 27, denied again for Connecticut on June 6. Official excuse: limited space, a laugh-out-loud line given that midweek WNBA press rows rarely hit capacity. Gaines pounces, torching the league on Fox and social feeds. I've never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. Her gripe isn't just the alleged slur, it's the optics of a league that greenlights full-scale probes into phantom fan chants but can't be bothered to ask its own all-star what she actually said on live television. That lopsided urgency becomes the story, and each credential denial turns into another receipt for critics who say the W protects narratives, not truth. The message to independent outlets is clear: play nice or stay home. Unfortunately for Commissioner Engelbert, Gaines is the last person likely to sit quietly in the cheap seats. The timing of this dust-up couldn't be messier, because USA basketball selectors just reignited a year-old debate by labeling Caitlin Clark a marketing risk and too inexperienced for Paris 2025. Selection chair Jen Rosati dropped the word irresponsible, insisting roster spots are for seasoned vets, not TV ratings rockets, even though Clark ranks top 5 worldwide in jersey sales. Yet controversy magnate Griner, who missed an entire season after a Russian prison stay and still shakes off boos in certain arenas, punches her automatic ticket. Gaines seizes on the optics. The Federation elevates an athlete fresh off an international incident while sidelining the one who single-handedly juiced WNBA viewership by triple digits. Fans scratch their heads, analysts crunch numbers. NBC reports Clark's mere presence could lift Olympic women's hoops revenue by high 8 figures. But the committee prioritizes chemistry and experience, code words Gaines likens to gatekeeping. Her rant lands because it's rooted in simple arithmetic. You can't lecture viewers about growing the women's game while icing out the game's biggest growth engine. Fairness arguments aside, the business math looks bonkers, and every rapid-fire interview Gaines does forces Team USA officials to defend what sounds suspiciously like a country club selection process. To understand why the clip hit DEFCON 1 so fast, remember Brittney Griner's public image roller coaster. In 2022, she's detained in Moscow for vape cartridges, sparking a diplomatic chess match that ends with the US swapping Victor Merchant of Death bout, an arms dealer blamed for fueling wars across 3 continents for one basketball center. Half the country cheers her return, half fumes that a Marine veteran still rots in Russian jail. Back stateside, Griner rebrands as both grateful citizen and social justice megaphone, kneeling during the anthem pre-arrest, standing post-swap, yet vowing to keep speaking truth. One of her highest priorities? Fighting state bans on trans athletes. Everyone deserves the right to play, she declares at an April 22, 2023 presser, calling those bans a crime. That stance turns her into a lightning rod for culture war pundits and a hero to LGBTQ+ advocates, all before she laces up a dream jersey. Add in her previous anthem sit, her high-profile marriage proposal on Instagram Live, and her cameo at the Met Gala, and you've got a superstar whose every move already triggers headlines. So when lips appear to form a racial slur toward the league's new golden goose, critics treat it less like a one-off trash talk moment and more like the latest chapter in a saga that includes geopolitics, civil rights activism, and trans rights showdowns. In other words, the clip detonates because it lands atop a powder keg of past controversies. Gaines just provides the match. Now flip the lens to Caitlin Clark. Second-year pro, reigning Rookie of the Year, and walking ATM for the league. Before her quad strain on May 24, National Fever broadcasts averaged 1.81 million viewers, numbers that used to belong to early round NBA games. 2 weeks without her, and ratings nosedived over 50%, social media engagement fell even harder. Economists peg Clark's overall WNBA value at roughly $875 million, with upside past a cool billion if she stays healthy. Ticket resellers call her arrival the Taylor Swift effect for hoops, and Indy's tourism board credits her with a $36 million bump to local GDP. She sells out road games, spikes merch sales league-wide, and sends TV execs scrambling to shoehorn Fever dates into prime slots. In squishier terms, she's hoop serotonin. Kids copy her logo threes, dads drag whole families to weekday games, and casual fans finally learn WNBA roster names beyond Sue Bird. That's why media veterans call the slur clip the goose golden egg scenario. Alienate Clark or fail to protect her from what fans perceive as biased hostility, and you risk the casual audience checking out. Gaines senses that business peril and frames her argument accordingly. Treating your biggest draw like collateral damage is not only unfair, it's financial malpractice. Investors, sponsors, and even a few silent voting players agree, whispering to reporters that the league is burning cash while lecturing about inclusion. The metrics back it up, and every fresh Nielsen drop since Clark's injury feels like a flashing neon warning sign. All those strands, viral clip, uneven investigations, Olympic snub optics, economic stakes, braid together in Riley Gaines' final self-implode slam. Because Gaines isn't a random clickbaiter, she's the college champion who tied Leah Thomas in that infamous 200-yard freestyle, then morphed into Capitol Hill regular activist. Her brand is "I'll say what mainstream won't," and whether you love or loathe her, she commands eyeballs. By stitching Griner's clip into a broader narrative of selective enforcement, she forces the WNBA into a lose-lose PR bind. Investigate and potentially punish a marquee player, risking union fury, or stonewall and confirm the double standard critique. So far, they've chosen option B, stonewall plus a side of credential gate that scores 0 points with transparency hawks. Meanwhile, Gaines keeps touring TV studios, hammering 3 talking points: equal accountability, fan trust, and the billion-dollar upside of treating Clark like a crown jewel, not a punching bag. Corporate sponsors hear billion-dollar upside louder than any culture war buzz. If Subway, Nike, and State Farm view the league as hostile terrain for the wholesome superstar they just built ad campaigns around, they'll pivot faster than a Clark step back. Ultimately, Gaines' mic drop lands because it strips away ideological varnish and speaks NBA-level risk analysis. Protect your asset or watch the balloon deflate. The league's next presser will tell whether leadership finally grasps the stakes or whether Gaines' self-imploding tag becomes the epitaph on the greatest growth spurt women's basketball has ever seen. So here we are, a league gifted with a once-in-a-generation talent, saddled with a viral controversy, and berated by an unlikely swim champ turned watchdog for ducking the hard questions. The blueprint for redemption is ridiculously simple. Apply one set of rules to every player, let reporters report, and remember that fans tune in for buckets, not bureaucratic tap dances. Blow that, and the WNBA might spend the summer starring in its own cautionary tale of how not to handle a growth boom. Nail it, and we could be talking next year about record attendance, record ratings, and Olympic podium selfies featuring both Clark's killer crossover and Griner's signature rim runs. The ball, as they say, is in their court. So what's your guys' take on all this? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications.